It's been about one whole year since I started making videos about painting Warhammer, which honestly surprised me that I kept coming back to post videos every month, so I decided to look at my oldest model I painted up, and decided to update the scheme on an even older model. No, seriously, I'm using a Chaos Android from Space Crusade. Enjoy! To start, I primed the model using Chaos Black Spray. On to the base colors now. We'll only be needing 4 main base colors. So, let's go back to painting. Start off with Doom Death Black over all of the android's right side. While I did primer with black, it's good to be safe in case you miss some spots. Continue on with Correct White, going over all the places where energy will come from, including the eyes and even the barrel of the gun. Now onto the metallics, starting with Dragon's Gold. This will be used over all of the left side of the android armour, along with any skulls and the bayonet, leaving the rest of the gun black. Then finish the basing step with Lead Belcher, painting over all of the joints and even the spine piece. Make sure not to spill onto any of the other bits you've painted up. Then, once it's all dried, it's time to move over to the shading step. For the shading step, you will only need 3 paints this time around, so let's continue on. First, mix a 1:1 ratio of non-oil and Agrax Earthshade. This is needed to go over the entire model except for all the areas that we have patched in with white. Now it's time for those whites. Cover it all with Flesh Tear's Red. This is just to show the blood red energy of this army that I made 15 years ago. And now the layering step. I decided to do a double layering for all the colours, as it's now a better improvement from when I last did my painting, so yeah. When you see the finished product, you'll understand. So, let's continue on with the longest step in this video. Layer on Razdaka Red to begin with, going over 2/3 of the gun and over the eyes. Then do an edge layer over the third of the Flesh Tear's Red that you haven't covered. After that, do a layer of Trollslayer Orange. This is to go over half of the Razdaka Red. Then after that, do an edge highlight of the same paint over the uncovered Razdaka Red. All the black on the armor plating is actually made from blackstone, so green glow is needed. To start this, we need warpstone glow over all of the edges of the black to start with. Follow it up with moot green. The sharpest points of the black is needed to be hit by this bright green colour, so only dots are needed. Now for the metallics, starting with Liberator Gold. This is needed to go over all of the gold edges on the golden material that we use. Please do try to be careful with this part, as any mistakes on the matte areas could require the previous paint and your water pot washed once again. Finally, add a mithril blade over all the silver details as an edge layer, and the gold details as an edge point layer. The gold needs it more for a brighter look, but after doing all of that, wash your paint pots for hopefully the last time, as this model is now pretty much ready for its base. And now it's time for the painting step itself. I have made a desert base to let the colours show. So let's finish this model. To make a desert, you need sand, so I used Armageddon dust over the entire base. Make sure not to apply too much onto the base, otherwise it won't dry correctly. Once the base is dried, Seraphim Sepia is up next. Going over all the sand, while it is still wet, use a dry brush to soak up any excess shade to avoid any pooling. Dry brush heavily on some Ushabti bone over all of the entire base. This will help seal in those shaded spots and give the raised areas more light. After that, dry brush on some Screaming Skull. This time lightly and only on the parts not under the model, as this is the sunlight reflecting onto the ground. And now the last paint. Use Doom Death Black over the rim in 2 thin coats, then just leave it to dry and let the process handle itself. Now finish off with a Mordian Corpse Grass Tuft and the model is finished. But before we show the final results, let's look back at the original design and my first ever model I ever painted. Look at it. As you can tell, the paint job isn't as good as, well, nowadays. But it is always good to have a look at your past. Even if you hate it, it shows that even after so many years, you've improved. And I think that's correct, even for me. Thank you for watching, but now is an important message. I have a Patreon now. Well, had it since I painted up the Imperial Griffin, but it's only now I decided to announce it better than just a simple post. On there you can actually see everything that's coming forth, and even sneak peeks of the future main videos. Also, due to some unfortunate no one joining in on the challenge, it has been moved to March under a new challenge. This will be a bit easier to explain in the Discord server that's hosting it.
All your base are belong to us.